Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. on this Monday, February 2nd. Thanks for tuning into Daybreak with us here on WGRZ Plus. And we are up to 12 degrees right now, but this prolonged cold snap is leading to a spike in the amount of calls being made to AAA for spinouts and fender benders and a lot of dead batteries. They've led to drivers being stranded across Western New York. And Daybreak's Natalie Foss is joining us live this morning to tell us about how hectic it's been for roadside crews. Natalie, good morning.
Melissa, good morning. AAA tells us that they've got a 31% increase in January compared to December in those roadside assistant calls. And one roadside technician tells us that a majority of his calls have to do with the battery in the car. The roadside assistant agency says that the bitter cold stretch we've had here in Western New York has actually caused crews to work around the clock to keep up with calls, and that especially in the Buffalo metropolitan area, wait times can be hours long. AAA tells us last week alone in the Buffalo area, crews serviced 650 vehicles per day. Christian Tabak, lead technician at AAA, says that your car could be draining its battery while it's parked in your driveway, and you may not even know it.
These vehicles have a lot of electronics built into them that are always operating at all times, even when that car is sitting. And as they sit, that's draining on the batteries. And on top of that, if only short distance runs are made, that just adds to the issue.
He recommends that every few days you take your car on a longer drive to get it warmed up and to keep it in working order. He said that a 45-minute to an hour-long drive should give the battery enough time to charge up, give you a better chance at not having to call them to have your battery serviced. Melissa?
Yeah, I luckily haven't had any battery issues, but I did have an issue. It was so cold that when I tried to shut my driver's side door, the latch wasn't registering. It was saying that it was still open and it was instead, but I knew it was closed. And so then it was going, the parking brake was being turned on. It was really, really annoying. Not so much of an issue that I had to call AAA or anything, but then I had a nice viewer say, just try some WD-40. And that's all that it needed, was spraying some WD-40 in the latch. But the other thing that I know I'm not alone with this at all is the ice getting jammed up in the wheel well, and then when your car hits like 50 miles per hour, it starts shaking.
Yep.
And so you got to really make sure that you're going in with your snow brush, the end of it, and like getting in there and trying to get the ice out of that. But that's just been because we haven't had any temperatures to help melt the snow and ice. It's really getting jammed up in there. Just, you know, winter weather woes in Western New York that drivers have to deal with. But those numbers for AAA of how many people that they've had to call, or how many calls that they've had for dead batteries, is really something that's a lot higher than I expected.
Yeah.
All right.
He said that he was having issues because, you know, people get upset that it's taking hours and hours, but they're working around the clock. They're not just, he said they're not just sitting around, they're constantly servicing cars. So that with the cold temperatures, we got to thank those guys out there who are helping get everybody back on the road. Yeah,
they've got to work out in the cold. All right, Natalie, thank you for that. Well, the mayor's impact team will be out today, continuing to clean up the mess that was caused by a huge water main break on Delaware Avenue and Hartwell Road yesterday. It was an 8-inch water main that burst, causing flooding of nearby businesses and homes. The entire Elmwood Regal Plaza lost water, which forced businesses there to close. Crews from Buffalo Water, Sewer, Fire, and DPW all responded to the area yesterday to pump out all of the water, restore service, and then salt the icy streets. This break impacted at least 10 neighbors as well. And one of those neighbors told us that he woke up to find his entire basement flooded.
I heard a buzzing sound downstairs, and it was pretty cold in the house, but I just thought it was cold outside. And I go to open my basement door, and it's just water to the top, like all the way to the top, submerging above the furnace, like midway through the furnace, and it's above the washer dryer. It's all the way up to the steps. So just gross brown water.
What a mess. And those residents do need to file a claim and document everything with their insurance, and call Corporation Counsel's office if you have any other questions. Well, we have gotten some new information on Daybreak about a devastating fire at a dairy farm in South Wales. More than 120 firefighters battled extreme cold to knock down a huge fire at Padham Farm on Centerline Road on Friday. Officials say icy conditions and frigid temperatures created major safety challenges, but crews worked for hours before bringing the fire under control. And one family member says the farm lost about half of their dairy cows in that fire. And he says he's grateful for the first responders and the farming community.
Thankfully, a lot of the local farmers have stepped up, trailered a lot of the animals to basically a safe haven of the other farming facilities to take care and tend to them.
There is a GoFundMe to set up to help that family, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. 7 people have been forced out of their homes after a fire ripped through an apartment building in Lockport. Fire crews battled the flames for more than 4 hours. This was a scene on West Ave early yesterday morning. When crews got there, they found thick smoke and traced the fire to the attic. 5 adults and 2 children and 2 pets got out safely. The fire caused about $150,000 in damage, and the cause of that fire is still under investigation. And also this morning, we're working to learn more about this house fire on McKinley Avenue in Williamsville. It happened just after 6:30 yesterday morning. A firefighter tells us 2 children and 1 adult were inside the home at the time. They all were able to get out safely. The Maine Transit Fire Department posted about the fire on Facebook, reminding everyone of the importance of safely using space heaters and to have functional smoke detectors. Early voting has wrapped up in the race to fill the vacant seat in the 61st State Senate District. And this morning, we've got poll results showing some pretty low turnout so far in the early voting. 2 Side's Rob Hackford is breaking down those numbers and joins us live from the newsroom this morning. Rob?
Yeah, Melissa, 7,827 ballots were cast early by voters in the 61st District, or in other words, about half of what we saw from early voting during November's general election. Now, it's a bit of an apples to orange comparison, given this special election is only for 1 race and will only decide who fills the vacant seat until the end of this year. But it's still a bit surprising given how much money and attention has been drawn to this race. Jeremy Zellner, Dan Gagliardo have ads running around town, on the radio, on TV. They're the only 2 candidates facing off this time. And I say this time because we'll be doing this all again come November, when Assemblyman John Rivera, perhaps, Zellner and Gagliardo run for a full term. Now, this special election may prove to be a springboard of sorts for whoever wins, but with such low early turnout, only 3.8% of registered voters in this district, the seat is very much up for grabs and will be decided on Election Day tomorrow. Poll hours are 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. tomorrow. Voters can find their assigned polling location and check if they're eligible to vote in this race on the Erie County Board of Elections website. You can also call 716-858-8891. Melissa?
Yeah, and perhaps the speed of this special election took a lot of people off guard, Rob. You know, it was only the governor named the date of the special election only about a month ago. It didn't give people a lot of time to actually even get on the ballot, let alone really think about who's running for this special election seat. So it's really creeped up on a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, it's usually a pretty quick turnover with the elections in November. You have people aspiring for higher office or different office. That quick turnover, definitely a little bit bombardment as well by the number of ads, the amount of information that people are trying to process, trying to make this decision. More people might be waiting until Election Day to do that.
All right, very good. Rob, thank you. Well, after 21 days of online voting, the National Comedy Center in Jamestown is currently in the lead for some big recognition. It's for USA Today's 10 Best Readers Choice for Best Pop Culture Museum Award. The museum is one of 20 nationwide nominees, and it's held the top spot for 18 straight days. And this is the only museum based in the Buffalo Niagara region nominated in the category. The National Comedy Center is asking visitors, fans, and supporters to cast their vote for the museum as daily public voting continues through next Monday at noon, with the winner being announced February 18th. So yeah, cast your ballot for the National Comedy Center in Jamestown. Speaking of comedy, what a loss over the weekend, Patrick, with Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, no.
I loved her in Schitt's Creek and Home Alone. And I know that you love Best in Show, and I still need to watch that.
Okay, she plays the wife of Eugene Levy, and it is so great. She is so funny.
And that too?
And what's that?
Well, she was the wife of Eugene Levy in Schitt's Creek.
And
Best in Show?
Best in Show. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So very different character. Okay, very different character, but equally as funny. So yeah, watch Best in Show. Melissa, you've got to
I do have to watch
rent
it.
Yeah. Rent it. Did I say go rent it?
Let me go to Blockbuster.
Right.
I'll be kind and rewind afterwards.
There we be kind and rewind. Oh my! I heard there's like one Blockbuster left, right? Somewhere. I heard there's like one token one, I think. Anyway.
When you come back here, we have to chat about Blockbuster a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't wait. All right, 8 in Angola, 10 in Jamestown, 7 on Grand Island, 7 in Niagara Falls, 13 Buffalo again. It's very cold out there. But again, not as bitter as it has been. We're going to stay in a cool to cold weather pattern all week. High temperatures will only be in the low to mid 20s. But then the bottom falls out on Saturday as bitter cold air comes in. We're going to see single-digit highs. We're going to see dangerous wind chills and some snow out ahead of it, too. So that'll be on Friday. So that's something to watch. There are signs, though, that may be it. Not for the whole winter season, but from this, multi-week cold weather pattern, we do moderate next week. But until then, a lot of cold weather to come. All right, skies are clear. It's beautiful out there, although a little cold. This snow here will be here tonight and into tomorrow, with some scattered snow showers. Not a lot, okay? Just some scattered snow showers around. As you can see here, we'll keep it dry today. Here comes those light snow showers as we head into tonight, accumulating to maybe a coating to a half of an inch, that kind of thing. And then tomorrow we'll see scattered snow showers around as well. Temperatures into the 20s and then low 20s, it looks like Wednesday into Thursday. And in terms of snow totals, as you can see here, it won't be much. Again, a half of an inch, maybe an inch in spots. That is tonight through tomorrow. All right, long range forecast. Increasing clouds today, snow showers tomorrow. Wednesday, dry. Mainly dry for Thursday, maybe a few snow showers off Lake Ontario on Thursday. Widespread snow Friday, cold with wind, it looks like on Saturday. Very cold, single-digit highs, sub-zero lows. For the south towns in the southern tier, we're also going to see a cold weather pattern with widespread snow, Melissa, this week. In fact, again, 8 on Saturday, teens on Sunday. Then after that, it should begin to moderate.
Oh, that would be great because we have the snowpack is so high right now. We keep adding on.
I know.
And no melting.
No
whatsoever.
melting. Yeah.
All right, Patrick, thanks. Stay with us. We will talk Bills and Sabres and Grammys and much more coming up after the break. The new Bills coaching staff is really starting to take shape. Over the weekend, they had a significant addition with hiring the new defensive coordinator, a name that's familiar to some Bills fans, Jim Leonhard. He's coming to us from the Denver Broncos, where he served as the defensive pass game coordinator the last 2 seasons. But he's also known for his work at the collegiate level at his alma mater, Wisconsin. Leonhard entered the NFL as an undrafted free agent with the Bills in 2005 and played 4 seasons here across 2 separate stints. Another name that might be familiar, Bobby April III, reportedly set to be the new outside linebackers coach here in Buffalo, according to the NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. April served the past 3 years as the defensive coordinator at Stanford. He worked under Jim Leonhard at Wisconsin from 2018 to 2022. No stranger to Buffalo either, having coached the Bills linebackers in 2015, and his dad, Bobby April Jr., was the special teams coordinator for the Bills from 2004 to 2009. And finally, the Bills are also reportedly targeting University of Oklahoma co-defensive coordinator Jay Valai to be the defensive backs coach, according to Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports. He's reporting that Valai has received interest from other NFL teams as well as Notre Dame, but Valai played his college ball at Wisconsin, just like Leonhard, although their times with the Badgers did not overlap. But Valai has been the co-defensive coordinator since 2022 of Oklahoma's defense, which is ranked 6th in the country this past season.
So Bobby April III, that means he has a father and a grandfather. Can you imagine having a grandfather called Bobby? Bobby sounds just like a younger name.
Right. Perhaps he's Uncle Bob.
Or Robert.
Yes.
I think he's a Robert.
We've talked about this before, about like some names nowadays, or even, my generation, like Brittany and Ashley. They're great names.
You just don't
hear
them
anymore. You don't hear them anymore. But also as a grandmother, Grandma's Brittany?
Grandma Brittany?
Grandma Ashley?
With an I.
Or Grandma Melissa? I mean, even that name.
And the I is a little heart.
Yeah. I don't know. That was one thing when I was trying to figure out
Yeah.
Elliot's name. What is a name that could be generational, but also, you know, could he be an athlete or could he be a lawyer or a doctor with this name?
Right.
How does it all?
Yeah, it's funny. Grandma Jennifer just doesn't sound
right. Patrick's a good one though. I mean,
that's a name it's like William and Patrick. They're names that are kind of, you know, they have times when they're a little more popular than others.
Right.
But it's kind of stable.
Yeah.
Melissa, you don't hear many Melissas
No,
anymore.
there aren't very many Melissas anymore.
Or Megan, yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
But some much older names have come back, like
Olive.
Evelyn and Olive and Hazel. And I love those names.
I do too.
So they've made a comeback.
Evelyn, I like that.
Yeah, it's very popular now,
Is it?
but
Is
it's
it?
also an older name as well. Anyway, speaking of old, Blockbuster. I follow like a child psychologist on many of them actually on Instagram to help with parenting tips. But they said that Blockbuster really kind of helps to teach children, or used to teach children, about like delayed gratification and disappointment. Because you'd walk around the store and you'd see the movie that you wanted, and it was just like the poster, and then there was nothing underneath it. And so then you had to work with your parents or your siblings to try to figure out, okay, now what movie are we going to get? Or you'd come with your backup plan. But you'd have to like wait all week till your Friday night or Saturday to go actually get the movie that you wanted. And then sometimes you'd show up and you'd be all ready for it, and then you'd be disappointed.
Right.
What do you do? How do you deal with disappointment? That never happens with movies anymore.
No.
Because if you want to watch a movie, you can do it immediately.
Right now. Right.
And then it's always there because it's on streaming. And so Blockbuster was just a way of looking back at it now. Kids learned a lot.
Do you remember that wall when, if there was like a Blockbuster, there was like 50 copies of it, right? All lined up.
Yes.
And then there was like a movie that only had 2. But oh my
Based
gosh.
on its popularity.
Yeah. Oh, and then that massive box of candy you could get at the. Remember that? Like Milk Duds, but it was the thing like this.
Yes.
Right? Like who needs all that? Anyway, so reminiscing.
Blockbuster even has a smell. As I'm thinking back to it, I can't describe it, but it just, you walk in there and you know it's got that Blockbuster smell.
It's probably like the plastic of the cases, maybe. I don't know if I remember the smell.
There are kids right now who,
just,
well, not
what are you
that
talking
they're
about?
necessarily watching us, but if they did, they would have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But the downfall of Blockbuster was Netflix.
Yeah.
And it was not the Netflix as we know it now. It was the Netflix where you would get a DVD or CD in the mail and then have to return
in a little paper thing.
Right. After a few days,
Yeah.
you'd return it. And then there was the Red Box, which still kind of
that's
exists.
yeah.
And then streaming.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think how quickly that transition occurred. I mean,
Yes.
there was a Blockbuster as often as there was a 7-Eleven.
Right.
One day, and then the next day they're all gone.
Nothing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back.
Gathered in their masses.
Just one of the sights and sounds from the Grammys last night. That's Post Malone.
And Flea.
And Flea.
Yeah.
Yep. Playing tribute to the late, great Ozzy Osbourne. 68th annual Grammys had a lot of buzzworthy moments, starting on the red carpet with Chappell Roan wearing almost nothing on top.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, lots of moments in the Grammys as well. Some interesting fashion choices, historic wins also. The stars certainly came out to entertain. And if you watched last night, of course, you saw that there and heard all of the political undertones.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Grammy Awards, coming to you live, and I mean completely live, because if we edited any of this show, the president would sue CBS for $16 billion.
No one is illegal on stolen land. I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter.
Song of the Year. Congratulations, Billie Eilish. Wow. That is a Grammy that every artist wants, almost as much as Trump wants Greenland. Which makes sense.
Other noteworthy moments included Bad Bunny winning Album of the Year. That's the top award of the night. And this is the first time a Spanish language album has taken home the top prize. Of course, Bad Bunny will be the performer of the Super Bowl, as you know, next weekend. Kendrick Lamar and SZA won a Record of the Year with Luther, and that was a disaster when Cher was trying to announce that. We were talking about that.
Right. Called it Luther Pandros.
Luther Gandros was the winner of the award, she said, when it was just the song Luther. But there were lots of issues with her just even reading the winner. But she won the, you know, what is that? Like the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Okay.
And so then that was going into
But why did she, I mean, she knows there's Luther Vandross. Why did she say Gandros?
I don't.
Just weird.
Right. I mean, Luther Vandross was not listed anywhere on it either. I think her 80-year-old mind just switched from Luther to Luther Vandross.
Gotcha.
And Vandross. And, but then Steven Spielberg ended up getting an EGOT.
Oh my
which
gosh.
was Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, because he got the Grammy last night for a film, like a music film that he was associated with. So some interesting moments, interesting looks.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that it was on. Did you watch it?
I watched a little bit.
A little bit? Okay. Okay. Bruno Mars did a great performance. Lady Gaga who's always amazing. Yeah. She had an interesting look too.
She always does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember she had a meat suit once?
Yes, I do. A lot of people didn't realize like really how talented Lady Gaga is though, because she always, you know, had those outfits like wearing meat, and that would kind of like take away from her
actual
talent
performance
that she actually had.
But then you saw her perform like with Tony Bennett. It's like, oh my, her voice is incredible.
Yeah,
and then The Star is Born.
Patrick, we normally don't agree on any music things.
She was wonderful in that.
Yeah.
She really was.
Super talented.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of talent, the Sabres, they are hoping to bounce back after a tough loss on Saturday. They were in it, though, for much of the game. It wasn't terrible, but they've got 3 difficult games coming up in 4 days, and then it's a long break for the Olympic break. So, yeah, on Saturday, they ended up losing, who do they play? The Canadians. But now, tonight, they'll be facing back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, the Florida Panthers, and they will play at 7 o'clock tonight. But the last 25 games, they've won 20 of them.
That's crazy.
Absolutely amazing.
So they have 3 games before this Olympics break.
Right.
And you just want them to go in with wins. Because it's like a 20-day break.
It's long.
So if they have...
What are we going to do for sports?
I know.
The Bandits, and they lost terribly on Saturday.
Really?
They played Colorado on Saturday. I think the final score was like 20-9 or
Oh my
something.
gosh. Okay.
Which is just, you're not used to seeing that as a Bandits fan.
No.
Because they're 3-peat champs. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll all be watching the Bandits as the same.
So what are we going to, we got the Olympics. So you're thinking local sports.
Local sports,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
But it'll be fun to watch the Olympics, of course. Favorite Olympic sport?
Moguls. I love moguls.
Oh.
But that's not a classic. In terms of the classic,
it doesn't have to be a
I
classic.
just like of all the downhill skiing, I love moguls is a newer, you know.
I love ski jumping and the tricks and everything in the air, and then just figure skating. I love it. And Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir are so much fun, and they're coming back together to be the commentators for the figure skating.
But then there's sports that I don't understand, like the bobsled. Don't you just get into a thing and it goes down, or is there like athleticism needed to get the best time?
That's
how you
listening to the commentators explain it, because yes, I don't know. Is it just how you're shifting your body weight? Is the athletic part of it? Is it the push-off that gives you more speed,
that's
like
huge.
right off
That's
the bat?
true, the push-off.
Kind of like with swimmers, like you're diving in. It's so important.
Right. I love, and like you said, I'm not a huge, the figure skating, it's the commentators that Weir and Lipinski. It's just, they're so great.
They're so fun.
Yeah.
And what about watching the Super Bowl? How interested are you in that?
Well, I'm interested. I don't know. I just really want Seattle to win, obviously. Here they are arriving. You know, Sam Darnold was a part of the Josh Allen draft class. Yeah. And he got there first, you know, and so Drake May. But no, I just really, Seattle I think what are they, favored by 5 or 7? Anyway, of course I'll watch. So
the Patriots landed yesterday at 4 and in Santa Clara, and then the Seahawks landed 90 minutes later, and yes, Super Bowl 60 is this coming Sunday. I have not seen any of the leaked ads yet either.
They had some on the Today Show, I think, today.
Oh, okay, I'll have to look them up.
I think they did.
Yeah.
But no, usually you get like little snippets.
Yeah.
We'll see those this week.
Right. And the extended versions, there's always ones that are, 3 minutes long, but then you only get the minute or 30-second actually during the Super Bowl itself. But I really think that that's what I'm going to be more. That's so cliche, like, oh, I'm only watching for the ads, but really I could care less about the game. And I just kind of still have a bitter taste in my mouth, and so I just don't want to root for anybody.
Right. No, I hear you.
know.
I'm watching to watch New England lose. Hopefully that's the case. I know. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine.
From worst to first, like I just can't imagine.
They were 4-13, 2 years in a row, and then they go, okay. Okay.
Finally being 20s all week.
Yeah, for the first time in over a week, we're going to get into the 20s today and a little light snow tonight.
And sunshine.
The sun will be up for that. Clouds will roll in, but go enjoy.
All right, enjoy. Everybody have a great day.